Thank you very much for joining us today. We do have a fantastic speaker from Thailand, Dr. Pipat Soisook, and he's basically a bat taxonomist, but with an interest in all sorts of ways of researching bats which feed into bat taxonomy. So he's based at a natural history museum at a university in Thailand. He's contributed to the understanding of diversity of bat species across Southeast Asia, and also promotes regional collaborative projects, research and conservation projects to do with bats. He's also a member of the Southeast Asia Bat Conservation Research Unit, SEABCRU. So hopefully you've heard about that. Similar to us at Bats Without Borders, it has a sort of local regional remit, but also has a global reach. So really good organization to look up. He's helped to train numerous students, rangers and conservation workers in Southeast Asia, but also further afield. In terms of taxonomic success, he's co-described a genus, 9 species and 3 subspecies of bat, new to science. So just some of the exciting things that he's been involved in. And because of these contributions to taxonomy, he's gained some prestigious awards as well, heading to the North American Symposium on Bat Research in 2016. However, today he'll be talking to us a little bit about his important work on the Pendlebury's roundleaf bat, to share with us today. So for our 57th Winged Wednesday webinar, I'd like to invite Pipat to share your screen with us and share your stories with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, and hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, like Helen's been mentioned, this stuff, I mean, this talk will be a little bit of my slightly different from my major work at the moment, but this is something that we really like to execute it, because if we take a look at the title up here, we say it's saving the endemic Hypsilurus canterburii or whatever with an I, because this species is named after Henry Canterbury, the British entomologist, who collect a lot of specimens of butterflies in Peninsula Thailand, Peninsula Malaysia, and some of the bat specimen from southern Thailand here as well, including the type specimen of this species that we're going to talk about. So why this species? Is because of we got only one endemic species. I mean, wow, we got like 148 species in my country, but this is the only one endemic species. And you know what? We know nothing about this species. So I will walk you through the story of this species a little bit at the beginning, and then try to tell you what we're trying to do at the moment. So it's not a complete project or a successful. We hope it could be successful, but let's see. This is the first year of our effort to conserve this species. Well, I would like to move this off, actually. All right. So before I really start, I'd like to mention I'm just come back from outside my campus. My campus is now a shelter for people in the city, because we having a severe flood out there, and my campus is only safe place, only place that we have internet and electricity. And I'm not sure if I have this kind of stable internet through the talk. But if anything cut, I would like to, um, I don't know, maybe I can do it again next week or whenever I can, or I can provide a video uh, um, of the full talk to you later. Right.
Thank you
So
so much, Pippa. Just to say, don't worry at all. We will absolutely make a plan if you do end up cutting out. And we really appreciate you attending today, and also
right.
thinking of all the people who are struggling with the floods at the moment there.
Thank you. Yeah. So actually, why I bring this up is some kind of related to our effort to conserve this species, because I can say it honestly, our government is hopeless. All of the project, all of the conservation effort in this country, I would say is only completely done by some kind of NGOs and the foundation, those kind of thing. It's come down to us actually. So we cannot rely on our government at all. Um, Probably some of you probably don't familiar with this kind of situation like us in developing country. So these two, we would like to conserve this species, but we have to do it ourselves, and then give the local people and local government and ourselves voice up to the government to help us conserve this species. So before we go to that point, I would like to talk a little bit about the background of this species. It's named in 1936 by Cheson. Um, the type locality is in southern Thailand, Khao Ram Rom in Nakhon Si Thammarat. Um, but the name has been synonymized, or actually it's believed to be a subspecies of another species, Hipposaurus terpis, that actually occur in Ryukyu, Japan, alongside with another subspecies in Vietnam, Hipposaurus alongensis. Okay, so you can see the the very big timeline here from when this was named, and then even the mammals of Thailand book that we believe is the Bible was a bat in our country, is included under this Hipposaurus terpis name for a very long time. So we used that name earlier until like 2012, that we elevated to be a full species once again. But before that, here we with a team with international researchers from Sebastian, Emma Tilling, and our Myanmar colleagues um, collect the data on the flagship species, and this species have been included in the same paper of those uh, flagship species. Hipposaur no is Chrysonectris ponglongyai. Yeah, you're probably familiar with the name bumblebee bat, the smallest mammals in the world. So it's very lucky to have the data of Hipposaurus pendiviri included in that paper, because um, this is probably the one of the first paper on this species, um, because everybody, even in our country, um, only interested in the bumblebee bat. When we talk about bat, they always mention this species, and also the budget, the um the 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 project and everything go to the bumblebee bat only. Nobody talk about Hipposuros pendiburi at all. So that's why I mentioned in the beginning that we know nothing about this species. Right. So when Wu Din Tong colleagues in Vietnam work on his PhD, and he named a new subspecies. Well, actually, he split all of the subspecies under Terpis back then into three different species: Terpis in Japan, um, Alongensis in Vietnam, and Pendiburii in southern Thailand. And he named another subspecies of Alongensis as well in this paper, incorporating all of the data set, the morphology, um, echolocation, and genetic. So we can use the scientific name of this species, like Chasing named it back then for the first time in 2012, very recently. So so after that, we try to know more about this species, because when we look at the list of the bat species in our country, um, we have some of the kind of iconic species, but most of them is uh, also found in other countries as well, like the bumblebee bat. We also found it in Myanmar. Um, Hipposuros halophilus is also found in northern Malaysia as well, and also the tube nose bat that I named, um, Murina balaensis, is already found in peninsular Malaysia as well by Julie. So, and maybe another one that I named, the new genus one that Helen mentioned earlier, I believe it can be found in Malaysia too. So we got only one endemic species, but again, we know nothing about it. So every time we give a talk about bat to people, this kind of point come up to our mind. We need to know more about this species, and then we need to conserve them. We need to understand the background of this species, and then use all of those background information as the baseline for the conservation. And then we got this funding to get the mitogenome and full genome of these species for the first time, and we can say confidently that Hipposuros pendiburii is the sister species of Hipposuros armiger. And here is a smaller species. If you see this picture, then you, well, some of the Asians probably know Hipposuros armiger, because it's really, really widespread in the Oriental region. It's a big one here in the right-hand side of the picture. So the nose leaf and the other thing looks very similar. It's only smaller in Pendiburii. So you can see it side by side here. The three bats on the left-hand side are Pendiburii, and then here, the big guy, Armiger, is much bigger. And they use echolocation co-frequency around 10 kilohertz different. Hipposuros armiger used the echolocation of about 65 actually, about 20 kilohertz different actually, sorry. So this one, our species, use the echolocation about 85 to 88, something like that. Okay, so people who never seen these two species side by side probably cannot identify it based on the nose leaf and morphology if they don't have the forearm link. Right. And from the genome, we know that these two species split from each other very recently. So Hipposaurus pendiberi, basically, I could say is really young species. They diverged from each other about only 5 million years ago. So we could say it's probably about the marine transgression during that time. And also it's probably about the development of limestone and uplift of the um, Thai Malay Peninsula during during that time. Right. So the population of the armature down there in the south have been split and isolated from the northern population, and it's probably like not sure how long, but once the seaways drop and then they um, reconnect, they probably isolated to be two different species already, right? So that's come to us that we would like to save only endemic species, and we would like to flagship this of something like we flagship bumblebee bat, the same thing that we do with tiger or panda or those kind of things. This is very important species, so we would like people to aware that we have this species to be you know to to learn and then to conserve it like other animals in our country as well. So we know that it's only found in about 20 roosting cave in southern Thailand. I'm gonna show you the map later on. And the population size is only about um, 10,000 individuals. But actually, it's probably very much less than that because this is based on the information like 5 years ago. So the project that we're going to do during these years and next years, we're going to verify this population size again. So our approach is that we're going to work with the key stakeholder, which is the local communities and the Buddhist monk who manage the cave. This is really, really interesting and really challenging because well, Thailand is some kind of Buddhism. Um, we cannot just um, chase the monk who live in the cave out. You probably have a lot of problem with local people who comes to worshipping and um, offer the food for the monk. So somehow law enforcement is not really working with them, I could say. And then we will have a public awareness on this species through all of the activities and exhibitions and books and poster and everything that we should do online and offline. But all of this will be based on scientific data that we trying to do during this years and next year. Okay. Back then, before we really putting all of this idea together, we work with local people in Trang, another province nearby here, and there is a limestone hill in that area that about to be quarrying. Some of the companies got the concession contract, but the local people they don't want to they don't want this limestone hill to be quarry. They want this cave, they want this mountain, they want this here a little limestone hill by their village to be there. And then we, with a team from our university, join local people to survey biodiversity there, and then we promote the presence of Hypsilophoros pendlebury to the people, to the public, and then use this as a kind of flagship. And then we successfully save that limestone hill and save many artifacts that roost in the same cave. So that is the beginning. Until this year, we start to get a small grant to work on this species, and then we try to look back to the list of the records of the roost again to double check the population size that we got the record back then, like 10-20 years ago. And luckily, one of the cave that not far from my campus, Sumano Cave in Patalung province, when I first recorded in 2015, we got 600 something, which back then I believe this cave has the largest population size of this species. Right, and then we keep checking the population size again and again, but not regularly. We found that in 2020, the population size is down to 400, and this year is down to 200 only. And with this picture showing you the present situation inside that cave. So there's a lots of monk activity. They change all the floor, the grounds of the cave, the ceiling too. Put all of the light into the cave, and statue and everything. So I think the disturbance and all of the change inside the cave is the key that making the population size drop dramatically. So one thing that we trying to do, but this time not with the local, we try to reassess the status of mammals in the country. The new version of the national red list, something like that. We uplift we uplist the status of Hypsilophoros pendlebury from vulnerable to endangered. So the full publication of the red listing should be coming out in this year, and that status will also apply to the IUCN red list as well. Right. So this is just the examples. So this kind of situations also happen in other caves as well. Right. So in the list of about 20 roosting cave, we select the key cave to do the monitoring and to do the public awareness, and then work with the monk I'm gonna show you the detail later. But here is the beginning. What we're trying to do this year, we go back to the cave that we have the records again, and then double check the population size, and we get the photograph, get the echolocation, get the wing punch, survey for the other species that co-roosting as well. So here's the map. It's only found in Peninsula Thailand, from Chumphon up here. It's the northernmost location, and the southernmost location here in Pathalung is only about this dot in the central part of Peninsula Thailand, and we found that we misidentify the species in here. Here that I cross it. It's actually Hypsilophoros armature that we recorded in 2013, 15. I don't remember, but it's not. So the key population size here fall into this 5 cave, right? So the biggest population size is here, Khao Dang Cave in Nakhon Si Thammarat. Okay, so the map need to be updated, and then all of the number of population size need to be updated as well. But you can see here, I also put the lines. When we talk about the split or divergence between Hippoceros armature and this species, here is what I believe to happen is split it from armature population. With the seaways here, it must have it's probably with the effect from this line as well down here, Kankar Patani line. So the population here evolved to be this Hypsilophoros pendiburii, diverse from armature back then, between 3 to 9 million years ago. Yeah, 3 to 9 million years ago. Okay, and the most important thing is that most of the roosting cave, including these 5 major roosting cave, the largest populations, are outside protected area. This is something very similar to the bumblebee bat in the northern part of the country. Most of the roosting cave of bumblebee bat are also outside protected area. So the challenge seems to be quite similar, but for this case, the key stakeholder is the monk. So everywhere we go, in front of the cave, we see the statue, we see all of the activities of the monk. But luckily, there is some safe zone for them to roost in. So we get there, and then we get echolocation to prove the species, because it can be very easy to identify by echolocation co-frequency. We try to get the flight shot in the entrance of the cave. We try to get the environment data, putting up the data locker in the cave. We get the basic data of the size. We get the wing punch. We get the swab, and then the bat flies. So within this year and 2 years, we would like to update the distribution. We would like to update the population size. We would like to to learn more about ectoparasite of this species, and also the dynamic of ectoparasite as well. Um, um, it's also rules in the same cave with other species. How similar or different of the bat flies that coexist with this species, right? So so far we found the bat flies in the genus Raymondia a lot on this species. Um, Basically, we could say this is well, if we talk about fly, this is something that's really specific to this Hipposaurus pendibuli. Then we found Chicomite as well, but we cannot identify the species yet. The interesting thing, we haven't found Brachytacina just yet. That really common in other bat, even in the armature or other rhinolophus who rules in the same cave. Right. And we look in the diet using the very simple approach at the moment. We look at the droppings, the looking at the here the insect inside the droppings, and identify them. But in the future, we're going to try to get more budget to do metabarcoding as well. But based on the morphology of those insects in the dropping, we can say that almost half of the diet of this species. But I would say this is only the preliminary result. Almost half of the diet of this species are here. The Coleoptera and Hymenoptera, about the same amount. But when we look at to the diet of other species, Rhinolophus or Hipposaurus, um, we we usually found that Coleoptera is the major diet of those, but it's really surprising that Hymenoptera is pretty much the same proportion to Coleoptera here. But we will need more samples. Actually, we will collect more and then analyze more. Um, and then we try to work with local people here in the same cave in Trang that I mentioned earlier, that we successfully saved the limestone hill. Um, we we keep working with them, and again we're going to go back and collect more data, and then work with this wonderful people there, and then try to expand a little bit from small group of local people around the cave that really looking after this one to other group of people as well, except for example the student in that area, and the leaders of local government there as well, and then try to launch a kind of a group, or maybe whatever foundation, the small one in that area. And again, here the key stakeholders. So we will work a lot with monk. If we can make friend with the monk, then everything will be very easy. If we try to be the enemy, then they won't even let us to study our bat in that cave. But if we become friend with them, we can convince them to save the whole limestone hill and the cave and other battle as well. That is my goal actually, because all of those caves that we mentioned are occupied by monks. So we need to work with them and convince them to understand how important this species is, you know. Um, but basically, when we work with them, we start with this species, but at the end of the day, we need them to understand how bat important to us, to local people, to them, not only this species, but all of the bat. That what we're trying to do. So wherever we go, whoever look after the cave, we take some time to talk to them, to let them understand um, um, what the benefit that we got from having this bat in that cave, having this bat around our area. Whoever we found around the cave, we talk to them. Some are the tourists, some celebrity, some of them are a TikToker. So we talk to them and then uh, provide some of the information for them, not only the locals and the monk. So that's about the this year and the next year. Again, we try to understand um, and update the population size and the distribution of the roosting cave. We try to understand the ectoparasite. Try to understand the diet of the species. But if we're lucky enough to get the budget to continue, then we would like to look at the foraging ecology as well. It's probably using GPS or whatever that we can afford in the future, and then have more community-based conservation location like the one that we successfully done before, um, and then we try to understand the disease ecology as well, because the health of the bat and the local peoples and wildlife around the caves are really important too. And most of the cave got tourists all the time. So get to know all the risks and also how to prevent themselves is also important too. So we would like to do the disease ecology as well. And most important thing, we need to keep on working with the young generation. So we got a lot of activity in the museum, and also outside the museum. We go out to have a night walk or some kind of event. Everywhere that we go, we put the little activity with the children, and then try to give them the information about that, and show them how important of the bat. All right. So I think this is very simple, and it's probably pretty much like other conservation project that been doing or done around the world. So I try to copy all of those project and then try to apply it to this species. Um, but I would like to hear from people, from you. You probably launched this kind of conservation project, the species specific conservation like this, and then I'd like to learn from you, and then hopefully I can do this um, within this budget years that we got, and then try to go on and on, do whatever that we could, to understand the ecology of this species, and then finally save it, like the title that we start at the beginning. All right, I think that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pipat. That was absolutely fantastic. And I just want to say, I admire how humble you are. Um, from my perspective, working in a similar sort of context, your work is by no means a small feat. It is not simple. I can see, as everybody else in this talk will also be thinking, how much work has gone into this. And obviously you've worked on this for years now, going from very much a sort of research taxonomy focused approach, and starting to engage with local communities. Personally, I see a lot of parallels with your work, with work that Bats Without Borders does, and also other people across our region in Southern Africa and across the globe, I suppose. So we have a lot of things to learn from yourself and from each other. So I really appreciate that you've shared all of that information with us today. So just to say, if to the audience, if everybody can pop their questions in the chat or raise your hand as well, if you'd actually like to ask your question vocally, that's absolutely fine as well. At the moment, I don't see any particular questions in the chat, but we do have a range of people in the audience from all over the world. And as Pipat had said, if it's not a question and you'd like to mention something about the work that you do that maybe his project could learn from, then please feel free to pop that in the chat or vocalize it as well. Either is fine. We do have some thank yous in the chat there. So from Metzger and Nithin as well. Thank you very much for the amazing talk there. Fascinating talk. Obviously, some may have arrived a little bit later in the talk. So just a quick reminder that you can go to the YouTube channel to catch up once we post this chat. This Wednesday webinar on the YouTube channel. And you can also catch up on the previous ones as well. I do see a fantastic question from Wangani, who actually is one of our Bats Without Borders interns, who has actually progressed now to supporting Bats Without Borders in a sort of research and outreach capacity as well. So Wangani says, good work you're doing. The species is truly in need of more information and conservation actions. What has been the reaction from the monks so far? Are they willing to engage with you, or are there options on how you can be protecting the bats in caves with Buddhist activities?
Well, it's a brilliant question, actually. I would say the five major cave that we work with so far are really brilliant. They accept our approach, and then they happy to provide everything. They happy with us to do the research, and then they mentioned that they're trying to conserve the whole areas, like the whole limestone hill as well, because if the information that they got from us, the importance of the bat and this species, they can use it, they can distribute it to any people who come that's probably threatened of using or take over or get the mining or quarry of the limestone, that they can use this information to fight back, and then keep the cave and the limestone hill as well. But I remember back then, before we start doing this, some of the cave, for example, the one that I mentioned in no, is Sumano Cave, the one that used to be the largest population size of this species. I think the monks in that one is probably not really welcoming researcher like other cave. So I think they 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 focus on having more people come into that place, the temple, and having the facility and the cave that they built as the worship area, rather than saving the natural habitat in the cave and also the bat. But they're still there. From 600, it's down to 200. But it's still there. We will try to convince them to keep some safe zone for that 200 individuals there. Um, and then I think the the option that we could try, well, in my idea, I think the one that I experienced in Myanmar is quite effective. Um, the monks in Myanmar who live with the cave, they are kind of the guardian of the cave. They they live, they do everything. They have their own um Buddhist activity just outside the cave by the entrance, but not inside the cave. If that kind of thing happen in Thailand as well, that will be brilliant, you know. So the monks become the protector of the cave. That that would be brilliant, I would say. But the situation now here in my country is it's not like that. But we will try to reduce the disturbance somehow, and then try to work with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was actually quite struck by that particular cave where the monks had developed it in such a way and such an extreme development with the lighting and the flooring, almost as if it was bordering on a tourist attraction. As well as obviously that religious aspect. So going from thinking about it from a custodian sort of perspective, and thinking about actually those custodians are actually starting to disturb the cave system itself. It's really, really interesting case study. Will be interesting to see how you manage to progress with that. I maybe I can ask a quick question. You did mention that next steps might be thinking about sort of foraging behavior and things like that. Are you looking at tagging? Are they quite small bats? How will you be going about looking at their foraging activity, and potentially are there ways that we could look at where they may be moving to? So if the numbers are dropping, obviously that's disturbance, and potentially they're moving to somewhere else rather than actually dying off. Have you got any thoughts about how you might be looking at movement in that way?
That's a very good question too. We were thinking of having GPS locker. So we if we got budget, we can attach a few GPS locker on the back of the bat, and then try to get the foraging route around the cave, see the movement from time to time, um, the difference between male and female, for example. But one thing that we would like to know that there is one period of the year that some of the bats are missing of the cave. Um, Male individuals are gone. So some of the population size in the cave drop, and there's only colonies of females left inside there, and we don't know where the males go. So we would like to know somehow um, the movement of the bat. Um, it could be like the whole year round, or this particular season that they gone. We would like to know where they go. Actually, that's why we would like to know the movement, and then foraging ecology, so that it can tell us a lot about this species, where they go, how they commute through all of those oil palm plantation or rubber plantations, because the habitat, um, the natural habitat, are almost gone. Actually, at the moment, around the caves are um, plantations already. Um, so how far they go, so where they really like to forest, that is some kind that we would like to know. So my first thought is um, putting up the GPS locker on them.
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation, especially in terms of thinking about that the males seem to be missing part of the year, because it just puts it in mind some work that Katendi Changula in Zambia has been doing on Vitatis, Hippoceterus vitatis, and also Rachel Cooper Bohannon, who is CEO of Bats Without Borders, was working on Hippoceterus vitatis, which are now Macronycteris vitatis. But just interesting that the numbers appear in a particular cave that has been looked at to be decreasing part of the year for that particular species, and
Mhm.
the reasons why are still unknown. Where are these bats going? And yeah, I
Yeah,
think that one of those options is definitely to do some tagging and see where they end up, which again Katendi has been starting to do in Zambia. But yeah, really interesting things that we can learn from similar species, although Macronecterus vitatis is a bit
yeah,
of a chunkier bat, so a bit easier to find GPS tags for them. But yeah, really, really interesting. I again don't see any more questions in the chat, but I do have a comment from Christopher Imakando from Zambia, also Bats Without Borders, who has just said, excellent presentation. It was very insightful. I think you probably know Christopher already through Harrison
yep.
Institute and such like. Yep. Oh, we do have a question here from Lucia. Where were you able to count the bats in the roost easily, or did you have to use some method of estimation?
Um, well, I would say easy. Yeah. Um, they usually rules separate from other bat, or if they mix up with other hipposaurus, like sometimes armiger, sometimes is diadema, um, sometimes is lavatus. They're all they're all look different in size, so we can count very easily through counter or photograph or estimate roughly by eyes. But most of the time, I count it from the photograph, and it's very easy because they do have their own space, and the dot in those pictures is very easy to count. They
So
don't
not really
seem to
clustered.
come to really cluster to together, except only the breeding season that they having the baby.
How interesting. Yeah, yeah. So obviously some work to look at some behavioral aspects in terms of why they're sort of more spread out as well. Very interesting. So yeah, I think we can probably come to a close now. I don't see any more questions in the chat. And just to say thank you so much, Pipat, for that wonderful talk, and also that again, just to mention that we see so many parallels between the work that has been done, across the different regions of the world, and we're facing similar problems, so we may be able to find some similar solutions. So, yep, keep working together, everybody, and thank you so much again to the audience for joining us today. Yep, we'll call it a day, and don't forget to catch up with other Winged Wednesday webinars, and also this talk, if you want to look back, will be on the YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Rachel.